All right. So in the last chapter, Chase took the fall for getting the medal, or for taking the medal, and the cops are on their way. And we had the whole vacuum cleaner incident and the walker and all that. So we're on 225. This is chapter 29. We're only going to read some of it because it is a long guy. All right. There are worse things than falling off a roof. Being arrested, for example. Can we read? We good? We good? There are worse things than falling off a roof. Being arrested, for example. Being known all over town as the guy who was low enough to rob an old war hero of the medal given to him by the President of the United States. The part that really hurts is what Mr. Solway must think of me now. I stole from the person I respect more than anybody I've ever met. Talk about fate. I was already guilty of the theft before I even started admiring the guy, and I'm absolutely sure he'll never speak to me again. Why should he? I wish I could never speak to me again. While we wait for my hearing in juvenile court, Mom keeps me out of school. So he's like out of school, waiting for a hearing. So he gets arrested again, and now he has to go to another court hearing. Kind of back to square one. I like it better that way. I don't have to face everybody and find out how much they despise me. Yeah, sure, they always despise me, but now they've got double reason to. Brendan and Shoshana have even called my house, but Mom won't let me talk to anyone. That's on the advice of our lawyer, but it's just fine with me. So he's not even talking to anyone at the advice of his lawyer, because if he says something wrong, it might be used against him. So he's really laying low. I can only imagine what Shoshana has to say to me, and I don't want to hear it. Anyway, it can't be worse than the things I'm saying to myself. Aaron and Bear tried to call too, probably to thank me for covering for them. Hey, I stole the medal, but those guys have to be considered at least accomplices because of our three-way split agreement. Top of 226. To be honest, I'm not even that mad at them anymore. I was just as bad as they are, the ringleader of the whole sick trio. They haven't changed at all. I'm the one who's different. At least I hope I'm different. Besides, I won't have to deal with them anymore after the hearing. I'll probably wind up in juvie. Even when I get out, chances are their parents won't let me associate with, their parents won't let them associate with me. I'm a delinquent, a bad influence on them. For all I know, that might actually be the truth. Maybe Aaron and Bear were a couple of angels before they met me. Juvie. There's a real high probability I'm going to end up there. The judge is the same one who sentenced Aaron, Bear, and me to community service, so I can't even say this is my first offense. It is not good to get the same judge multiple times. Like, if they see you back, that's not a good sign. As for pleading not guilty, it's too late for that. Everybody knows I did it, so he has to plead guilty. My mom forgives me. Huh? He's getting a punishment, a consequence.
But he's getting it now. Like, this is where he gets his punishment.
Yeah. My mom forgives me, but that doesn't mean much. If you can't expect mercy from your own mother, you might as well throw in the towel. Johnny's come back from college to stand with me at the hearing, which means I'm messing up his life too. The only other people I ever see are Dad and his family. Go figure, my stepmother Corinne turns out to be my biggest fan at a time when I'm toe jammed to the rest of the world. Not that Mom isn't supportive, but she's so scared of what's going to happen to me that her nervousness is making everybody nuts. Corinne's different. First, I'm not her kid. And second, she's not the one who might be going to juvie. So she can be a little less emotional about all this. I have to believe that the judge will be able to see the kind of person you are. So she's like rooting for him, his stepmother. I guess I was pretty rotten to you and Helene, I say. You know, before. I don't remember it, but I'm still sorry. So he's still working on, like, making amends with people. Never mind that, she replies. Let's focus on how things are now. Helene is only 4, so she understands nothing about my problems. Actually, the only time I feel really relaxed these days is when I'm sitting on the floor with her playing Barbies. Something the old Chase wouldn't have been caught dead doing. I'm pushing Malibu Barbie's beach cruiser, giving Ken a ride to the luau when I notice Dad filming me on his phone. I thought playing with a 4-year-old interferes with your focus on important things like football, I tell him. Are you kidding, champ? He exclaims. We can show this at your trial. It's a hearing. So his dad is filming him playing with his little sister to help him out at the hearing. It's a hearing. Whatever. It'll prove to the judge what a great big brother you are, and that will get you back on the football team. Whoever's making noise with their chairs, can you stop? It's pretty loud. I say, I guess you think I'm a pretty big moron for returning that medal. He actually seems to mull it over. Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say it would have been a lot smarter just to slip it under Solway's door. Yeah, tell me about it. But you did the right thing. So his dad is speaking some sense for once. He's saying, you did the right thing in returning it. You could have just put it under his door, but you didn't. But you did the right thing, he adds. That medal's worthless to you. You didn't earn it. Not like your state championship, let's say. It only has value to Mr. Solway. I don't know how valuable it is to him either. He can't remember any of what he did to win it. God, this is a long chapter. He blanked it out the way I blanked out my whole past. Dad shrugs. Even if you can't remember it, it still happened. I love the kid you used to be. I start to protest, but he holds up a hand. Let me finish. Just because I missed the old Chase doesn't mean I don't appreciate who you are now. I'm not blind. I see the bond you have with Helene. You think that would have been possible before your accident? I thought you considered that kind of stuff weakness. He reddens. I just didn't know the new you yet. It takes strength to eat the blame and not rat out Aaron and Bear, especially when they more than deserve it. Or try to make things right with Solway or even the Webber kid, whether they appreciate it or not. You're strong, all right, and stupid, and everybody has stupid moments. The trick is to not let a few bad moments cost you the game. Huh?
A few.
Ew?
I said a few.
Oh, a few, yeah. I thought you said ew. I was like, what? Where am I? There's something in his expression that I've never noticed before. It was probably there a lot before the accident, but this is the first time I actually see it. Pride, which is going to be worth exactly 0 in front of a judge. I'm going to read like a page more or two, and then we'll stop.
This is a good chapter, though.
Well, it's super long, so we're not going to finish it anyway.
It ends on page 40.
As I step through the metal detector of the courthouse, I freeze. So now we're at the hearing. I've been here before, and the memory comes flooding back. Top of 229. Move it along, son, the security guard urges me. Plenty of people in line behind you. Right, sorry. I stumble forward to make room for Mom, Johnny, Dad, and Mr. Lando, our lawyer. I must look a little shaky because my brother whispers, hang in there, kid. I nod, wrapped up in my latest flashback, arriving in this very building with Aaron Bear and our families. What I remember the most is my anger. Excuse me. My outrage that the 3 of us were being hauled into court for booby-trapping Joel's piano. I was mad at everybody, Joel, the Webbers, the school, the police. Didn't they know who I was? So he's thinking back to his first hearing, and he's like, man, when I was in this security line, I was so mad at everybody else. Chase, didn't they know who I was? Chase Ambrose, MVP of the state championship game. We ruled that school. Whatever we did was okay just because it was us who did it. Yeah, I was mad. I can practically feel the heat of my rage radiating through the memory. What a difference a few months make. Back then, I had such a high opinion of the great Chase Ambrose that I considered myself untouchable. Now it's the opposite. I hate myself so much that there's no way any judge could hate me more. That's why Mr. Lando has been so frustrated with me. How can you create a defense for someone who won't defend himself? So this time around, he's like, yep, I did this wrong. I'm not mad at anybody else but myself. It's not that I want to get sent to juvie. I don't. But I'm 100% guilty. I took the medal. I hid the medal. And if I had been my old self, I would have sold the medal back. I would have sold the medal and pocketed the money. There it is, my whole case. That's probably why Mr. Lando's betting everything on character witnesses. Because I refuse to say anything on my own behalf. That's really scary, what you just did there. What? Yeah. Can you put those away?
Cole was like,
Okay. Can you just put them away? Okay. So he goes into the courthouse. He's going through security, thinking about how last time he was so mad at everybody else. This time he's only mad at himself. And then the lawyer, he's making the whole case. Can you go sit? That's distracting me from retelling what's happening. So Mr. Lando is doing the whole case based on character witnesses. Does anyone know what that means? Character witnesses? So character witnesses is when you're in a hearing and people come up and they talk about you on behalf of you. They say good things about you. So like maybe his dad would come up, or maybe Mr. Solway would come up and say good things about the person and like tell why they're such a good person. So we're going to read just a little more and then we'll stop. So this is the top of 230. I hear my mom drawing a tremulous breath as we enter the courtroom. My dad puts an arm around my shoulders. Believe it or not, I don't even shrug it off. Right now, I need all the support I can get. When I take my first look around, I almost lose it. Everybody's here. So, everybody comes.
Yeah.
Brendan and Kimmy are sitting with the video club along with a lot of kids from school. I see Coach Davenport and a group of football players, Joey and Landon and some others. Miss Deleo is there too, along with several of my teachers. In the front row, I'm shocked to find Shoshana, Joel, and their parents. So, everybody, football team, video club, teachers, everybody shows. Where am I? Shoshana catches me looking at her and quickly turns her head. I'm blown away. I already know I'm not the most popular guy in Hiawassee, but the fact that so many people despise me so much that they take time out of their day to come and watch me get sentenced to juvie is the most painful thing I've ever had to face. So he immediately thinks that they're all coming here to watch me get sentenced to juvie. He's like, awesome. All that's missing is the stocks so that the angry mob can throw rotten vegetables at me. Judge Garfinkel comes in and spends a few minutes reviewing the case file. Well, I sit there and stew. Oh, I remember now. He turns his sharp gaze on me. Young man, I told you that if I ever saw you in my courtroom again, things would go very hard with you. What do you have to say for yourself? Mr. Landau starts to get up, and while he's buttoning his jacket, I replied, Nothing, Your Honor. I don't remember why I stole Mr. Solway's medal. I wouldn't do it today, but I definitely did it then. The judge nods gravely. I appreciate your honesty. You're making my job easier, if not any more pleasant. I have some character witnesses who would like to be heard, Mr. Landau announces, if it pleases the court. Judge Garfinkel sighs. Proceed. Mom goes first, dripping enough tears to warp the wood of the witness stand. Her main message is what a difficult child I used to be and how much I've changed since my accident. She spends a lot of time talking about how seriously injured I was and how long I was unconscious. This comes from Mr. Landau's careful coaching, but Judge Garfinkel looks about as easy to persuade as one of those giant stone heads on Easter Island. Dad is next, and I'm amazed at some of the things he says. I thought all he cared about was that I'm a chip off the old block, but he only mentions football once. What kid doesn't act like he's got it all figured out when he's Chase's age? Even so, getting to know my own son the way he is now, I almost wish someone had pushed me off a roof when I was 13. So Mom and Dad go, and they talk, and they say nice things about him. They talk about his accident. Dad doesn't even really mention football, just says nice things. I'm stunned. The very best part of my father's 48 years was the time he spent in middle and high school. He considers himself to have been the ultimate athlete, hotshot, and big man on campus. He has never, not once, allowed for even the remotest possibility that his youth was anything less than perfect, until today, when he thought it might help me. Dr. Cooperman comes up to confirm that my head trauma was as serious as we say it was, enough to bring on amnesia and enough to cause a personality change. I think I'm going to stop there. All right, I'll read this last page. Chill, yo. Why do I deserve those grumbles like that? I definitely don't. Top of 232. Judge Garfinkel frowns. And the personality change is permanent? It's impossible to tell, the doctor admits. In many ways, we know more about outer space than we do about the innermost workings of the human brain, but there's every reason to believe that Chase is a new person. As Dr. Cooperman steps down, the bailiff reads the name of the next character witness, Shoshana Webber. What? So he's got Mom, Dad, Dr. Cooperman, who are all on his side. Then the judge is like, okay, next up is Shoshana Webber.
I think she's going to let him stop first, right? And then she's going to say how he changed.
We shall see. All right. I'm not going to read this whole part, so don't grumble at me, but... Shoshana Webber. What? I'm frozen in my chair. This has to be a mistake. But no, Shoshana has gotten up and is heading to the stand. I tug on Mr. Landau's sleeve. No, I hiss. This character witness thinks I'm subhuman garbage. She's still avoiding eye contact with me, but there's an intense expression on her face. She's a girl on a mission, and I know exactly what the mission is, to bury me. She doesn't say anything, just sits there, steam building inside her like a boiler about to explode. Not good. Oh, this is so not good. Miss Webber, prompts the judge. I know Chase is guilty, she begins. He's guilty of a lot of things, and he's done a lot of good things, too. He's trying, even if he isn't always succeeding. Judge Garfinkel clears his throat. Young lady, the purpose of a character witness is to vouch for character, not to point out faults. I was getting to that part, she tells him. The big question is, what kind of person is Chase going to be now? He gave the medal back, and that's a plus. But there are minuses, too, like at school when he lied to cover up for his old friends. I'm not saying that to make him look bad. I'm trying to give you a totally fair picture of Chase today. Thanks to falling off that roof, he's been given a chance to restart his whole life. Maybe it hasn't been perfect. She struggles to find the right words. I'm silently pulling for her not to find them. I'm grateful that she doesn't seem to hate me as much as before, but this isn't helping. And the judge prods. I was harder on Chase than anybody else, she explains, and some of that was justified and some of it wasn't. I guess what I mean is, if I have faith that he's going to turn out okay, you can take it to the bank. And I'm amazed to say this, but I just know he'll be a good person. So she ends up saying nice things. Huh? It wasn't the kind of testimonial Mr. Lando was hoping for, but it was absolutely honest. For sure, I wasn't expecting to hear the words good person coming from Shoshana, not when she was talking about me. I'm just going to finish this page. Don't get me wrong. If the Webbers forgive me, that would be a humongous weight lifted off my shoulders. Mostly, though, I'm just confused. This isn't going at all the way I expected. That's admirable of you to say, Miss Webber, Judge Garfinkel comments from the bench. But that isn't what this hearing is about. Chase is charged with the theft of a Medal of Honor belonging to Mr. Julius Solway, which nobody denies happened, not even Chase himself. All right, we're going to stop. All right, scene. So there was this whole crazy fight thing in the elderly home.
Brendan's at his thing.
Yeah, Aaron and Bear were fighting Brendan and Chase and everyone. And then he gave the medal back to Mr. Solway. The nurse is like, I'm calling the police. So then in chapter 29, they're on their way to the juvenile court for the next hearing. Chase is out of school for the time being because he can't really talk to his friends because, like, the lawyer and everything. So he really just sees his family. He talks to his dad. His dad films him playing with Helene, with the Barbies, and is like, I'm going to use this as evidence in your hearing. And then his stepmom, like, wishes him luck. He's like, I hope they see who you really are, like, that you're a good person. So then they go to the hearing, and they have some character witnesses. So first, his mom goes up and talks about, like, how bad the accident was and, like, what happened. His dad goes up and talks about it as well. Dr. Cooperman then goes up and talks about, like, really how bad it was and, like, how it could cause a personality change. And then Shoshana goes up, and she starts off like, I know he's guilty, but he's, like, changed a lot. She says, I was harder on him than anyone else was. And then the judge is like, so that's not what this hearing's about. Chase is charged with the theft of a Medal of Honor belonging to Mr. Julius Solway, which nobody denies happened, not even Chase himself. So we're on the top of 234, I believe. Huh? What'd you say? Oh, okay. All right, so top of 234, we're going to try to finish today. But don't you see, she pleads, if I can misjudge him, anybody can, even a judge. Thank you for your testimony, he tells Shoshana. Let's move along. Would anybody else here like to say something on behalf of this young man? The chorus of squeaking chairbacks and shuffling feet is louder than it should be. That's when I realized that every single person in the gallery has gotten up. So, like, he's like, anyone else want to speak on behalf of him? Everybody stands up, which is, like, not what usually happens. Like, one or two people might stand up or raise their hand. Everybody in the courtroom gets up. That's when I realized that every single person in the gallery has gotten up. They cross the courtroom in the direction of the witness stand, kids, teachers, parents alike. The only occupied seats belong to my family and Mr. Lando. Everybody else is in line in the front of the bewildered bailiff, so they're all making a line to speak. Video club kids I know I pushed around in the past, teachers whose classes I used to disrupt, football players who thought I deserted them, even Joel and his parents. I stare at them, practically everyone I know, waiting their turn to support the bully who deserves no support at all. They nod encouragingly at me, wave, flash me thumbs up. The picture doesn't last long. My eyes are filled with tears, and it's all a blur. I was afraid I might cry at some point during the hearing, but not because of this. This is something I couldn't have imagined in a million centuries. I bite down on the side of my mouth hard, and my vision clears a little. From the bench, Judge Garfinkel gazes at the milling crowd. All right, I get it, he turns to me. This is impressive, and I don't deny that you must have completed an incredible turnaround. But a serious crime has been committed here, not a first offense either. Chase, can you guarantee you're no longer the same person who stole Mr. Solway's medal? Top of 235. I sense salvation so close I can almost reach out and squeeze it. All I have to do is say yes, and I'm off the hook. It's a happier ending than I ever could have dreamed of, far happier than I have any right to expect. And yet, how do I know I'm 100% different? As the memories continue to trickle back, it's pretty clear that the old me and the new me aren't two separate Chases. Can I really claim to be no longer the same person? So he's like, are you the same person? And he's like, should just say yes, because that would like end it all, right? But he starts thinking about it. He's like, maybe I'm not really the same person. Maybe I'm like,
Listen,
maybe I'm not that much better.
Say yes and don't do bad stuff with DC.
I know, right? Of course, that wouldn't stop me from telling the judge what he wants to hear. It's what the old Chase would do. Take the easy way out, like that time in Dr. Fitzwallace's office. Lie, cheat, say anything to beat the rap. I'd be proving that I haven't changed a bit. Okay, Judge Garfinkel will never know the difference, but I will. And in that instant, I understand that being true to myself is more important than fooling the judge with the power to send me to juvie. I shake my head sadly. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I can't make that guarantee. I feel different. I have no urge to do the things I used to do, but the person who stole that medal was inside me once. I can't promise that he's gone forever. So he's honest. He's like, I don't know that I'll never do anything. Yeah, right. So he's honest about it. He's like, I don't know. I hope I won't. I don't think I will, but, I'm still that person. There's almost a wind in the courtroom, all those people deflating at the same time. Shoshana, Joel, Brendan, my parents, so they're all disappointed. Judge Garfinkel lets out a heavy breath. In that case, Chase Ambrose, you've left me no choice. Top of 236. You've left me no choice. It is the decision of this court that you be It's the decision of this court that you be remanded to the juvenile authorities. Now hold on just one cotton picking minute. In the excitement, nobody's noticed that the courtroom doors have flung wide open. Mr. Solway walks in. In shuffles Mr. Julius Solway, war hero, struggling behind his walker. Around the neck of his one and only suit hangs his Medal of Honor, freshly polished and gleaming. The look in his blazing eyes plainly says he intends to take on the world and win. That gets the judge's attention. I assume I'm addressing Mr. Solway. Please take a seat, sir. No, I'm not going to take a seat, Mr. Solway replies belligerently. All this ruckus over a stupid medal. Well, here it is with its rightful owner. Case closed. Now, let's all go home. It's taco night at Portland Street. The judge is respectful but firm. It doesn't work that way, Mr. Solway. A crime has been committed here, even if it now has a satisfactory ending. What crime? Mr. Solway challenges. Chase didn't steal my medal. I loaned it to him. I jump up. Mr. Solway, don't... What do you know about it? The old soldier roars at me. You fell on your head and lost your memory. Who are you going to believe, Judge? The fellow who remembers or the fellow who doesn't? So he's like, I loaned it to him. He didn't steal it from me. And he's like, no, Mr. Solway, you don't have to do... And he's like, what do you know? You fell on your head. You don't remember anything. Judge Garfinkel frowns. This may be juvenile court, but it's still a court of law. We deal in the truth and only the truth. Top of 237. The truth is that this is a good kid. How many people do you have to hear it from? Mr. Solway indicates the lineup in front of the witness stand. Excuse me. I'd trust him with my medal anytime. Why wouldn't I? Mr. Lando steps forward eagerly. I believe Mr. Solway has introduced reasonable doubt. The judge snorts a laugh at him. Watch it, counsel. I'm not an idiot. His harsh expression softens. However, in light of the incredible show of community support, plus the testimony of a decorated veteran, I'm going to dismiss the charge against Chase Ambrose. He looks me straight in the eye. Don't prove me wrong. So he dismisses it after all these people, defend him. Mr. Solway comes and defends him, so it finally gets dismissed. I breathe and realize breathing is something I haven't been doing since Mr. Solway came shuffling through that door. An enormous cheer goes up in the courtroom. I'm hugged, kissed, and high-fived. My hand is pumped to the point where my elbow is jelly. My back is pounded until Dr. Cooperman warns about internal injuries. The football players carry me around on their shoulders. Coach Davenport complains that he hasn't seen this much team spirit all season. There, high above my celebrating supporters, I experience another flashback. It's the state championship from last season, and this is our on-field victory dance, my teammates hoisting the newly crowned MVP up in the air. I slap myself in the face to dispel the memory before I spot Aaron or Bear and spoil it. I'm feeling so many things at the same time. I'm relieved. I'm relieved, obviously, but it's also strange to owe so many people such a debt of gratitude. Back on the floor, I say thank you over and over again until my lips and tongue go numb. And when the crowd finally begins to thin out, I realize that the last person embracing me isn't my mother, it's Shoshana. We jump apart, but Joel is already standing there pointing and laughing. I guess he's not going in the wood chipper after all, he says to his sister. I look at her questioningly. She turns bright red and mumbles, "See you at school tomorrow." She starts to walk away, then turns and echoes Judge Garfinkel's parting words, "Chase, don't prove me wrong." Come to think of it, Shoshana would make a pretty good judge. She'd make an even better jury and executioner. I wouldn't want her any other way. When the Webbers leave, I'm down to my last thank you, and this one's the most important. Mr. Salway has established himself in the front row of the gallery. He's scowling at me. "You know, kid, you'd make a lousy lawyer. You almost blew it up there." "Mr. Salway, you know you didn't lend me that medal." He shrugs expansively. "I would have. Besides, you have amnesia. I'm old. Who remembers? But think where you'd be if I hadn't been able to get a lift over here." "Thank you so much," I quaver, thinking about how hard it is for him to get around. "Don't thank me. Thank her." He motions to the back of the courtroom. There by the door stands Corinne. One hand holds on to Helene, the other to her keys of her van. She's beaming at me, so his stepmom gave Mr. Salway a ride to the courthouse. So she helped out. It's funny. When I wake up in the hospital at the end of the summer, I didn't even know myself, much less anybody else. I hope I never again experience a feeling that lonely. But today, with my entire future at stake, I wasn't alone. The Chase Ambrose I used to be never would have assembled such support. Mom and Dad, Johnny, probably Aaron and Bear, who have to be worse than nobody as character witnesses. Maybe a few more teammates out of obligation. That would have been the sum total of my cheering section. I follow my family out onto the steps of the courthouse and take a tremulous lungful of free air. How many people ever get a do-over at life? Falling on my head was the best thing that ever happened to me. I feel like that should be the last chapter, but we're ending with Brendan. Elijah, can you fix this? Thank you. All right. I know. I agree. Seb mentioned this too. Fix your mask, bud. Thank you.
I'll look back in the book to like double check them.
So Seb expressed this earlier. I think it was you, right?
Yes.
That it should end with Chase, which I agree because that was like a nice ending right there. But it does end with Brendan, so we'll see what he has to say.
Which is kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's probably my one thing against the book. So let's read Brendan. This is chapter 30. We're gonna finish. It has to be the most incredible transformation in the history of middle school. No, not Chase Ambrose going from thug bully sociopath to human being, even although surely that's in the top 10. I'm talking about the fact that Kimberly likes me now, so there's some budding relationships here. I swear I'm black and blue from pinching myself to make sure I'm not dreaming, but it's 100% legit. I even call her Kimmy. It's like a pet name. Nobody else calls her that. If that's not the real thing, I don't know what is. It was the big fight at Portland Street that did it. When Kimmy saw me sacrificing myself and getting the snot knocked out of me, trying to protect her from Aaron and Bear, that put it over the top. I was like a knight. Yeah, I was like a knight in shining armor. Although Kimmy says it's mostly because she was so amazed I wasn't dead. Whatever. Before this, she had trouble remembering my name. Anyway, a bruised jaw is a small price to pay for a girlfriend, especially the most mad, awesome one in all of Hiawassee. I'm not even worried that she might go back to her old crush on Chase. It looks like Chase and Shoshana might be starting to turn into something. Not that I'm playing double dates with them anytime soon. No sense playing with fire. Chase played his first football game of the season last weekend and really tore it up, scoring 3 touchdowns and gaining 180 yards. Shoshana annoyed the crowd by standing in the middle of the bleachers and delivering a long speech about how she isn't a football fan and never intends to become one. Maybe, maybe not. After all, people change. Look at Chase himself, or Kimmy, or the video club. We know less we know less than zero about football, but we got some amazing footage of that game. Coach Davenport liked it so much that he made us the Hurricanes' official videographers. The pep band has a new musical director, too, Joel Webber. So I kind of see the point of this chapter. He's, summing everything up, telling where everybody, ended up. So Kimberly and Brendan are together. Chase and Shoshana are, sort of becoming a thing. Joel is now the musical director for the pep band, and Chase is playing football again. The players are kind of nice to us now. Well, most of them anyway. Aaron and Bear are still their Neanderthal selves. Then again, everything that happened pretty much exposed those two as the bullies and delinquents they are. Who cares about them? They're kind of outcasts. Chase says even the other Hurricanes pretty much ignore them. Not that those two being losers was ever a newsflash to me. Chase is back in the video club where he belongs. In fact, he's a bigger star there than in football. The word just came in that Warrior took first place in the National Video Journalism Contest. Chase is the sole winner because Shoshana removed her name from the project when she thought he attacked Joel. Miss Del Leo is trying to get that fixed. The Vidiots have adopted Mr. Solway as our official mascot. Top at 242. We wanted to make him our official war hero, but he objects to the word hero. He's not too crazy about war either. Well, he may not let us call him our hero, but he's definitely my hero because of what he did in court for Chase that day. But of course he was a hero long before any of us was born. The United States Army was so convinced of it that they awarded him their very highest honor. Just don't try to ask him about it. I can't remember anything, kid, so don't bug me, he barks in his best crabby old man voice. Talk to Chase. He'll tell you what it's like to blank something out. Actually, Chase is recalling more and more these days. He's still got a long way to go before his amnesia is totally cured, but every now and then I'll see him in the school halls, gray in the face and haunted, and I know he's just remembered some horrible thing he did in his former life. Poor guy. Maybe one day he'll get used to it and it won't bother him so much, but I'm not holding my breath. I always thought the purpose of Video Club was to create something so off the chain that it goes viral and makes you famous, but that's not the point at all. The best thing about Video Club is the people you discover along the way, like Mr. Solway or Kimmy, who probably never would have noticed me otherwise, or Chase, who I spent 3/4 of my life being afraid of and is now one of my best friends. Which doesn't mean that you have to give up on the viral part. Kimmy took my raw footage from One Man Band and edited out everything except the part where I'm trapped in the tuba, being shot with fire extinguisher foam. So she took One Man Band and got rid of all the good stuff, the actual video, and just has the part where he's trapped in a tuba and being shot at. Then she posted it to YouTube under the title, Worst Tuba Fail Ever, and it's already been viewed 360,000 times.
It's viral.
Unbelievable. I have a viral video. Well, technically it's Kimmy's video, since she posted it on her own account and never mentioned my name, not even once. I'm just the doofus in the tuba, wriggling like a hula dancer and foaming at the mouth, but it still counts. It proves anything is possible. Kimmy and me, a YouTube sensation. Even Chase Ambrose turning out to be a nice guy. Woohoo!